Hey, I don't know how long I'm going to have here, so I better get to it. Oh man, it's buggy out here in the woods today. Wow, I got some mosquitoes. Of course, I got the water right over here. Standing water. I don't know how long it's going to be until it storms, because lately we've had this pattern in Connecticut where it's like sunny and hot up until like mid-afternoon, and then all of a sudden it gets really dark and it's humid, and all of a sudden the sky opens up and we have these violent thunderstorms and these ferocious mosquitoes. All right, so I'm gonna get to the point here. Wow, yeah. So wow, what a week. And I made it out here. I didn't really feel like coming out here today, but yeah, I think I'll feel better when I get back. I always do. Oh, introduce myself. Leslie Billito Plazic, Zazoo Plazz. We're here in the mosquito-infested woods. I think what I have to do is put my hat on. Otherwise, they go in for the kill. They can smell blood. All right. So, this is, okay. The readings today. It kind of ties in with the whole week. We had my mom's memorial mass on the 14th. For those of you who have been following, my mom, I'm honoring my mom's passage. It's been about a month now since she passed away, so we just had the little memorial service this week at the church where I used to go when I was a kid. I was baptized there, first communion, confirmed, everything. I didn't get married there though. But going back there is like being, 12 again. It's like weird. And everything is kind of where it used to be, except there are different people, different priests, different ladies working in the cafeteria. They had vacation Bible school going on. It's all part of the plan, that I would go back there, and a couple of my cousins got up and eulogized my mom and read poems and things. A cousin from my dad's side was there, and my aunts and uncles, but everybody just, heck, there were so many people there that I just didn't recognize, and I'm looking at them, and they're like, oh, you don't recognize me, and all of a sudden I said, oh, Mrs. So-and-so, Mrs. P, And she's like, yep, it's me. She's like, you don't have to call me Mrs. anymore. She's like, that's my mother-in-law. But I'm looking at them like, these were the adults, the authority figures of my childhood. And I can't get used to calling them Barbara, or, whatever. It's like, I can't call you, Barbara, or I don't even know, Elaine, or whatever their names are. They're just not, that's not the way I see them, And it's like all my mom's friends from her coffee shop, this coffee shop and that one, and, they're all there. I sold a book to a nice lady who used to have coffee with my mom. Her name is Linda. Hi, Linda. I got a new member of the Zazoo Plazz fan club. She bought my book. She wrote me a check right there at the table at the fancy restaurant where we had the lunch. She's like, oh, I can't wait. She's like, I signed it and I dated it. She's like, someday when you're really famous, really rich and famous, and everybody knows your name, she's like, I'm going to have this book that you signed and it's going to be worth a lot of money. I'm like, ooh, boy, you just said the golden words, lady, the magic words. So I signed to Linda, my new friend. Enjoy your vacation reading. yours truly, Zazoo Plazz. Pauline's daughter, in case you forgot. But yeah, I was good. I was a pillar of strength. Except, the music always gets me. So they got the organ in the church, right? And I grew up playing the organ. It always gets me right here, right here. So they're like, the Lord is my shepherd, and walking through the dark valley, and I fear no evil, and the usual, da 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 da. And the priest gets up, and what I really wanted to do, as he was droning on, I had this image of myself getting up at the pulpit, and it's quiet. And I go, dearly beloved, we are here today to get to this thing called life. Get through this thing called life. An electric word, life, means forever. That's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else. The afterlife. The elevator tries to take you down. Go crazy. That's Prince, for those of you unenlightened. Let's Go Crazy by Prince. I guess that's one of the songs for the week. So anyway, they're playing Be Not Afraid. And oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of things, serious things or funny things, so make me laugh. I was like, ooh. And then that stopped and I'm fine. And then they launched into, at the end, the prayer of St. Francis. And I sang the whole thing at the top of my lungs, and it felt really good. Make me a channel of your peace. That one, yeah. That's like my favorite prayer of all time. I have it up in my office. Let me not seek to be consoled, but to console, right? To be understood as much as to understand. And to be loved as much as to love with all my soul. Them's wise words. So anyway, now it's time for a little rest. And I got that tarot card this week, the one where the guy's like lying there resting and his sword is by his side. He's got 3 up on the wall, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to take a little rest before the battle starts up again. My husband was out, had to go in the early morning and see my mother-in-law because she wasn't feeling well. She couldn't get out of bed, her back and this and that, her arthritis. And so he's going to have to get somebody to help her. She's 91, so she's a tough lady, but she needs a little help. My dad's doing all right. I check in on him every few days. He's soldiering on, Now he's a single guy in his 80s. He's a desirable commodity over at the senior center. All the ladies, hi Ray. At the funeral, like, they're all, dolled up to the nines and like hitting on my dad, like, get out of here. He's just such an agreeable guy. He's like, oh, I'll help you, My dad looks uncomfortable when he doesn't have anybody to hold up, or open doors for, or, go to the store for. He's an errand guy. But now he's getting to play his music and, go to his band rehearsals once it stops raining. He's getting back to things that make him happy, which makes me happy. So, I don't know today. I was thinking, Jesus and his apostles getting away, they're on the ocean, they're at the beach, they kind of get away for a while. And I was just thinking, I was thinking about the beach and how, back in the 80s, mid-80s, early to mid-80s, When I was in high school, we used to always take friends. I'd take a friend down. Could be any time of year. I had some friends when I was a senior who were already in college or off in the world, and they'd come home to visit, and I'd take them down to the beach. My parents would go, and I was thinking about this guy, my friend, W.N. He's a Cancer. He is a Cancer. I think he lives in Pennsylvania now. Hi, friend. If he ever watches this, a great guy. Brilliant guy, in fact. We were good friends. He was in the Mango group in the class ahead of me. So he was like a year and a half or something older than me. And he is a nuclear physicist. I always went for these like geeky types, the mad scientist. Well, yeah. So he ended up going into the Navy and becoming an officer on a submarine. And well, here he is. Here he is in his, it's funny because like I had this pea coat. I'm not wearing it there, although I am wearing a navy blazer. Here he is in his pea coat. He kind of looks like Popeye with his, and I have phases where I used to dress like that. He reminded me a little bit of, was it Robin Williams? Yeah, he reminded me a lot of Robin Williams, who was one of my favorite comedians. But this guy is, he's a unique soul. He's one of three brothers, I think the oldest. Like I said, so he went off on a nuclear submarine, and I used to get letters, and as most guys tended to do who were stuck on a submarine with a bunch of guys for months and months, he used to, romanticize seeing me again. Like when his ship came back into port, like Brandy or something, like, that song from the 70s, Brandy. But he was my perfect boyfriend because I didn't have to deal with him in the months in between. I could just, be this unattainable, girl. And that worked well for me too. And we had the most fascinating conversations, He sent me pictures. See if I can find it. He stretched out on his desk. His cabin was so small, and he was a short guy. I'm 5'6½", and he was about 5'4". He was a little shorter than me. Oh, maybe 5'5". And see, I don't know, it's hard to tell. My hair was big back then. But, well, maybe not so big. I lost touch with him at a certain point, I guess he eventually retired from the Navy, and he went to work at some nuclear plant, Pennsylvania. And I think that's where he is now. And, I always think of him, there was something about the military. Oh, my son's talking about going in the military. And my husband his work is top secret, but, he's in that engineering kind of top secret, stuff. He's in that general area, let's just say that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And you have to think that, nobody comes into your life by accident. There was something about him that, appealed to me, and it ended up, that quality of him ended up being reflected in my husband, I guess. I mean, we were basically just friends, this guy and I. We were friends. But, there was an intellectual, emotional kind of thing, because I've got 10,000 cancers, so midheaven in Cancer. So that was kind of like, we'd pick me up, we'd go drive and stop for an ice cream somewhere, go to a movie. But, you need those friends when you're in high school. They help you figure out who you are. And I guess I was his olive oil, if he was Popeye. But anyway, I sometimes think of him when I hear Billy Joel's The Piano Man. And he says, you know, the usual crowd shuffles in, and there's Davy, who's still in the Navy and will be for life, probably will be for life. That's the friend I think about when I hear that song. You know, I think about my friend in the Navy and getting to see the world and getting out. So, anyway, I'm thinking a lot about friends, you know, these days. And I sort of made a new friend. I met second cousin at the lunch the other day. He's a graphic designer and he's from California. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, he looks just like Grandpa Bilodeau. Come to find out, Grandpa Bilodeau and his grandmother were siblings. Our grandparents were siblings. So he looks, of course he looks like, because that's his great uncle. You know, that's why he looks like my grandfather. So he sent me all this stuff. He's on Ancestry, he does genealogy, he's done all this stuff on the Bilodeau family. Very, very interesting guy, very talented. You know, if anyone needs a graphic artist, my cousin is available. He's got a lot of projects on his plate, but you know, he might be able to squeeze in one or two things. I'll let him know. He's an interesting chap. And maybe he can help me with, you know, some of the Zazoo stuff. Because I have an idea about incorporating, you know, the family, all the family stuff into my research and my discussions. So I guess I'm going to have to go now. I think it's going to cut me off, and I sense lightning is coming, and my poor dog is going to be shaken. I go back and see my son and my youngest son and his new girlfriend. That didn't take long. She seems very nice. They all seem nice. Okay, so here I go, and I take a little walk back, and I'll see you next week. Another edition of the Zazoo Plazz Report. In the meantime, take it easy. You know, live in the moment, enjoy the moment, eat lightly because it's hot. Don't push yourself too much, but keep your eyes and ears open for opportunities. Mosquitoes. You know. Till next time, Zazoo Plazz saying adieu. Bye-bye. Take care.